kind of extending to that, I'm kind of getting lost in my thoughts here. But to kind of put a bow and move on here is not only is it the greatest sporting competition in the world, but it's also the greatest broadcasting achievement in the world. And I want to kind of break this down for you guys. I'm a broadcaster, obviously, and since I've been in the world of broadcasting, I have such a fascination with the behind the scenes and with the how and the technical stuff that goes into giving you the broadcast that you see. And just from all it takes is a little bit of experience with a microphone and camera for you to understand how difficult this stuff is to pull off, and how like complicated the systems are to bring you coverage of a very abundant event. We'll call it that. Because think about it. You see Mike Tirico, who does a fantastic job hosting the Olympics. God, I love Mike Tirico. You have him hosting for 3 weeks straight. He has to cover and talk about and be knowledgeable about live in front of the world on NBC about every event in the games. Everything from track and field and swimming to equestrian and archery. Mike Tirico needs to talk about it. Mike Tirico needs to know about it. And how does he get that? How is he able to do that? Well, in all of the venues in all of Paris right now, there is an entire camera crew, sound crew, production crew, broadcasting talent crew, social media crew at every single venue, at every single event going on the Olympics, many going on simultaneously. All of that information, all of the stats and the history and just kind of the game notes of each event. Who is each player? How long have they been training? How long have they been on this team? How long, where's their family from? Where's their family in the stands? Who is that family member? Think about that. All of that just for one event has to be broken down and delivered not only to you, the viewer, but to the broadcasting crew. Mike Tirico needs to, most likely on a teleprompter, obviously. That's too much to understand for one person. But he needs to be able to get kind of a heads up to prep a little bit before he goes on camera talking about the U.S. women's volleyball team against China and how that went to set 5 and who each player is in the 6'6" outside hitter that China has. What's her history? How long have they been playing together? He needs to go from that to swim and dive, to gymnastics, to equestrian, to mountain biking. I want you guys to understand how complicated this stuff is to pull off on a broadcasting sense. Understand and appreciate what you're watching. And if a broadcaster messes up, understand how much they have on their plate to be able to deliver all this. Understand how difficult this stuff is to pull off. Even my work at the Michigan Soccer Network, a fraction of what they have to do in these professional broadcasts, I had to do a highlight show. I got to do a highlight show for a couple of weeks where I had basically a week to prepare, for most of the highlights I was going to see. I called many of the games. I saw the highlights. I know what I'm expecting, and I know the kind of Sports Center style I got to do it in. Dude, it still takes me at least 5 takes. But Tirico and everyone else on that broadcasting crew does it live with mere minutes of prep because it just happened. You can't prepare for it. The event just happened. U.S. just won gold in the women's 100 butterfly with 1 and 2. You can't prep for that event happening, that specifically in detail. You can kind of get a heads up, like, oh, yeah, they might do this. But all that stuff is live and instant. And right now, understand the broadcasting achievement that all this is. I read a little bit of Al Michaels' autobiography called "You Can't Make This Stuff Up," where he talked about covering the 1980 Winter Olympics, where the Miracle on Ice happened, or maybe it was 84, I forget, but where the Miracle on Ice happened. He detailed his experience not only dealing with multiple events that you're not very familiar with. Al Michaels never called hockey before doing the Miracle on Ice, or at least he called like a couple of games. So a lot of these broadcasters are put into unique positions to call games that they don't know about. They call sports they don't know about. And I keep going to equestrian as the example, but like, imagine you as a basketball broadcaster, as a soccer broadcaster. There's only so many you can have on a single crew. Hey, you need to go do archery. You need to go do swim and dive. You need to go do cross country skiing. Going to winter games. That understand that's a lot. That's a lot of what these broadcasters are put in the position of. And Al Michaels, he's never really called hockey or skiing or skating or all that kind of stuff, but he had to do it for his job. And a lot of it was very tightly timed because of not only the fact that it was live and you got to get it going right away, but there's a time zone difference. You have to get it ready so that it can be broadcast and premiered for back at home. Because we got an ocean's distance between us and France, so you see it live at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then you see it again in prime time. So they got to get all the highlights done, all the replays and graphics, all that's got to be done like right away because it's got to be shown live and then again. So I'm going on and on and on, but I keep wanting to, I want to hammer home how much goes into this. I want you guys to appreciate that. Because as broadcasters, our job is to entertain, inform, and please the audience. But just like any other job, this stuff is difficult. And unfortunately for broadcasters, not a lot of people care about why this error happened, why the camera got cut, why the microphones got cut. But understand that these are people doing this job under immense pressure, not only for the magnitude of their event, but the time restrictions as well. So as you guys are continuing to watch the Olympics, think about what's going on behind the scenes to bring you that coverage from an entire ocean away. Think about that. And hopefully you'll gain a little bit more of appreciation for the sports that you watch. And of course, cheer on Team USA. Cheer on your teams, whatever country your family hails from. I had a little bit of fun seeing Italy win gold in 2 swimming events. That stuff was really cool to see. But the Olympics are amazing, man. It's the greatest sporting event in human history. It gives spotlights to sports that would never get covered otherwise. And it is the greatest. You're watching the greatest moment in each of those athletes, their careers. This is the greatest moment in their athletic careers, and you're watching it constantly for 3 weeks. It's amazing, and I want you guys to understand that and appreciate it as you go and continue to cheer on Team USA or whatever other nationality, country you are rooting for. Go for gold, enjoy it, and let's have fun. Let's have fun as a planet. That's what I love about the Olympics. So that will wrap up us on the JoMo Show. We talked about Oakland women's basketball. We talked a little bit about DCFC, USPBL, as well as the Olympic Games. Coming up on the JoMo Show next week, or throughout this week, we're going to talk a whole lot more about the Olympics and a whole lot more about Oakland basketball. Coming up tomorrow, I will be welcoming in Ian Allen of Oakland University Swim and Dive, someone who is very knowledgeable about Team USA swimming, their rivalry with Australia, and, of course, what goes on in the competition pool for these high-stakes meets. So we're going to be talking to Ian Allen tomorrow, to be released later this week. We'll eventually be talking to Jeff Tungett of Oakland women's basketball, as well as Jeff Smith of Oakland men's basketball. So we got a whole lot coming up on the JoMo Show. Be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube, wherever you're listening, to not miss anything on the JoMo Show. Be sure to go and like us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Wherever you can find the JoMo Show, be sure to support your one and only podcast for Oakland sports and beyond from WXOU. My name is Giovanni Mosheri, and this has been the JoMo Show. We'll see you next week.